So howdy, y'all lovelies. It's me, Taro. I have a story time for y'all. But before we get into it, I'm going to burn down on this bowl. It is a mixture of, let's see here, Shiraz, Drooler, and Lowrider. I believe Shiraz is by Michigrown, and Lowrider and Drooler are by Cheech and Chong. The Cheech and Chong stuff smells ridiculous, but the Hyde, But yeah, I'm gonna try this and see how we do. So the story I have for y'all today is that was a good hit. So the story I have for y'all today is what happened to my partner and I when we went to Newport, Michigan on our camping trip. So we decide that we want to go visit a beach. We leave our campsite, we head up to Northport, and we get there and it's already lunchtime, so we find a little cafe thing which is fucking busy. So it gets to the point where, because it was going to be a long wait, I decided just to go back to the van and snack on some of the food that we brought. And my partner went into the restaurant and had some food. And then she went down the block and found a store that sells vintage Japanese clothing, one of which I'm currently wearing. My partner goes into the shop, buys a couple items, tells me that I got to check this shit out because it's it is so overwhelming. But while I'm sitting having a snack, I decide I'm going to have a smoke, and I open up the side door to the van. And our van is the type that has interior lights that will turn off after a certain amount of time, and we would just sporadically just have the van door open and the light goes out and we can keep the door open and continue doing whatever we're doing. We don't have to worry about closing it and opening it all the time. Well, apparently I left the light on for too long and I ran the battery down. Bad tarot. So my partner gets back from eating, and before we even know anything is wrong, we're like, all right, let's go to the beach. Go to press the ignition. The vehicle does not start. So we're like, oh no, what are we going to do? This is middle of nowhere kind of town that AAA likely won't be able to get to very quickly, nor are there likely very many garages or auto parts stores. So my partner goes back to the Japanese clothing shop and says, hey, our battery died. Could you possibly give us a jump? And she was closing up shop actually because we were there around closing time. And she's like, yeah, give me a second. Closes up the store, goes and grabs her Ford Escape. Bless her for trying, because when she pulls the vehicle up, she's like, I don't know how to pop the hood. And this hood release is literally like where the hinges for the driver's side door, where your feet are. Okay, and the hinge is right here. It's like right here on the actual like side panel, and there's nothing labeling it. So we're used to something like next to the seat or at the bottom of the dashboard. We get the hood popped, and the battery is under the dashboard. Like it's like this far, like literally the entire battery cell is under the dashboard. Like there's no way to actually hook the negative jumper cable to the actual post because there's like maybe 2 inches of room to the post that might not even be the post. Find that out, and she says, "Well, hang on, let me call one of my kids." She calls her kid and says, "Hey, I'm trying to help some people, and I can't. We can't jump their car. Can you come help?" And apparently, the kid said something really wrong because the woman's face turned red and she started storming off and like waved the mom finger at my partner and I and was like, "I'll be right back." And I started following her to be like, "Oh no, we could probably just try to call AAA and get this all taken care of," because I didn't want to inconvenience anyone. Like I brought the battery down. It's no one else's fault. So we got to get ourselves out of this. I like it seemed out of turn to try to seriously include other people other than thank you for giving it a try. But she goes to a diner, talks to one of the cooks, and she comes out, this cook, and says, "Hang on, I got a truck." Pulls her truck around and opens the hood. This battery is actually accessible, except there's a bar that's been bolted in place right over the battery. So when we're trying to get the cover of the battery off, like she's sitting there swearing up a storm, like, why the fuck did they put this like this? We get it hooked up and we charge it for like 15, 20 minutes and try to start the van, and it doesn't turn over. And right before we hook to the battery of the truck, I accidentally shorted. I brought the cables together because I wasn't paying attention, and I may have shorted the battery of the rest of the juice. But it's very possible the battery may have already been run down, so the spark may not have been anything. I may have gotten to it just fine, but it happened. Either way, the vehicle doesn't start, and she is like, "All right, I'm going to move my vehicle back, but I'm going to call my husband. He knows how to work on vehicles. He's off today. He's right down the street. He's not doing anything." She goes to get her husband, and we're just kind of standing there with our thumbs up our asses, like, what the fuck are we going to do? And we hear, "Do you need a jump?" And this guy on a motorcycle just kind of pulls up, and it's like, "Yes, we do." I'm not expecting him to say, "Well, I have a jump box." And so he pulls his backpack out and he pulls out this little box that is like 10, 12 inches long, 2 or 3 inches deep, 3 or 4 inches wide, and it has little cables on it, and it actually is used for jumping vehicles. If you don't know about this, look it up and and try to get one. You might be able to save yourself or help someone in need. Because I need to get one because that was a lifesaver. But this gentleman hooks it up, and we try to fire it up, and it doesn't turn over. We keep trying it, and we get to the point where we're like, "All right, try it one more time," and it doesn't turn over. And I'm sitting there defeated. I'm like, Jesus, Taro, why? Why did you do this? This was such a great vacation until you did this. I decide one more try. Press the brake. I hit the ignition, and it fucking starts. It fucking starts. I'm gonna hit this now because I got to a good part of the story. That was a good hit too. Get back in frame. I can go up to here. I have too much hair, and I'm all cattywampus and crooked. I wish I had recorded this story the day it happened because I remembered all the names of everyone. My memory is so bad. Like, if I get high, then I'm lucky if I remember what I just said. So we get it started, and we get the hood down, and then the wife and the husband pull up like, "Hey, we're here to help," and we're like, "We got it going," and they're like, "Yay!" My partner decides that because we needed a jump, and because the battery was probably 5.5 years old, probably time to get a new one. She calls an auto parts store down in Sutton's Bay, which is just south of Newport, and it's close to closing time for this auto parts store. But this guy takes the payment over the phone and says he will wait after closing for someone to get there. Now, my partner and I only know two people in Michigan, and they live in Sutton's Bay. We had contacted them earlier in the week to say, hey, we're in town. Do you want to hang out? Because we met them while we're camping, and we just started hanging out, and yeah, good people, good times. My partner had been talking to them, and they had said that since they had been camping all last week and they had just gotten home or whatnot, they were tired. Maybe we should put it off till next year. Like we just kind of missed them. But my partner calls them up and says, hey, I don't mean to bother you. Our battery died, and we're able to get this battery from this auto parts store. Would you pick this battery up for us? And she says, yes. What's the address of the auto parts store? Come to our house, because her partner works on cars and knows how to do that. So we were able to do it in their driveway. So it's like fucking badass. So we get their address and drive to their house. And within 20 minutes after getting there, the battery is in the vehicle and the battery is changed, and we fire it up and it starts. And we try it again and it starts. Oh my gosh, it was glorious. I'm gonna take another hit because. So we get our hands washed up and everything. Well, he pulls out a joint and we fire it up, and I start pulling out all the little goodie bags, like a trick or treat bag that I had been doing. And I asked him like what he preferred, what kind of flavors, and I think he said fruity. And I was like, I got you. So I mixed the soap and gastropop. I'd have to try them right now in order to actually describe them well. Packed that up for them, and I threw them some nugs of that because they wouldn't accept money, and we had no other way to really thank them. And there was no way in hell, no way, we were going to walk away without actually leaving something as a thank you. Because the moral of this story is that I am humbled. I thought something was touching my back or my hat, like right back here, but it's actually my hair thing, like what's it called? Rubbing on the back of on the back of my back or the front of my back. What side does the back have? The moral of the story is I am humbled by the kindness of strangers. These people did not, absolutely did not need nor have to show kindness. I do my best to show kindness as well in my life, even though there's plenty of chances to be kind that I have not taken. But there's lots that I have, and I'm trying to make it more. Because if this is how that kindness feels, I want to do it more. I want to give it back more because it makes me want to be a better person. Like I said, I want to buy one of those jump kits so that I could, in case that happens again or in case I see someone stranded. I think about, I think about. So while it was happening and people are helping, I'm just overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers. In Newport, they didn't take anything. and everything was going by so fast that they were just like, all right, I gotta go, and just walked away. I get really emotional because I live in a place that actually, if we'd lost the battery here, we could spend upwards of like a few hours sometimes, probably, like waiting on someone to say, hey, do you need a jump? But people would just drive by like, you don't have AAA, then sucks to be you. And it sucks that that's the conditions of the area that I live in, because being around that kind of breaks you in a way that you have to work to not be broken to the point of apathy. So, bonus story. Two bonus stories. First bonus story. This is the second time I'm recording this because I forgot to turn on my mic. So I was just basically just dancing around. Couldn't even hear me. Second bonus story. So, right over there, right over there, right over there is a four-way stop. Well, it hasn't been happening as much recently, but we used to have a few people who would treat that street right there as a drag strip. There was one car that would do this a lot. And it's like, I don't know that it's the same car, but it looks like that car all the time. It's the same color, it's the same shape. Might be the same car. They would just continuously bust that, doing like 50, 60. Like, I'm usually like a live and let live kind of thing, but even when I delivered pizzas and was busting stop signs, I slowed down and confirmed that no one was coming because I knew what I was doing was dangerous. This person just busts through. I've been thinking about going out there late at night with some cement and creating like a plush shaped speed hump kind of thing. Yeah, we would put like large rocks along each side of the street. So there'd be like 8 rows of stones that would allow as a barrier between an out of control vehicle and a house. So, yeah, that's something I've thought about doing guerrilla style. Just like, fuck you, stop. Someone's gonna want, like, normally I would be alright with that. This is a neighborhood. We're not gonna learn our fucking lesson until someone gets fucking killed. And that ain't cool. Like, we have a street right outside the neighborhood that is this long, fucking maybe half mile. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. He could fucking open up on that. What the fuck? And we got a fucking street down there that, like, people open up on. Like, it's a straight off, and it's at least a mile. Bonus, bonus, bonus story. Number 3. I'm out of the shop. So one time, someone apparently got in a police chase, and you could hear the engines, and you could hear the police sirens, woo, woo, woo. That's the sound of the police. But you could hear them just coming, and I gotta keep the microphone near my face. This is gonna have so many weird edits in it. Haha, now I'm over here. So they're coming through, and the guy busts through doing like 60, 90 miles an hour between there. And the cops come through as well, like 3 or 4 of them. And they go over there. I know you can't even tell where I'm pointing, but I'm pointing because I know. I'm replaying this in my fucking memory. It was wild. So, goes over there, and at that intersection, you can hear them try to make a right turn. And you hear them crash into something. And they apparently make it because you hear them driving more, and they wind up in the corner of the neighborhood. And I guess they get out of their vehicle, and apparently guns were drawn or whatever, but I think they were arrested because I didn't hear about anyone like getting shot or anything in the neighborhood. So my partner and I, let's go see the damage. What the hell just happened? This is fucking wild. This doesn't happen in our neighborhood. So walk over there, and our neighbor has like just a regular chain link fence around on the perimeter of their property, and on one side which is like this 30-foot length. The car, in taking that right turn, just drifted into their yard and took out one side of their fence. So, like, it looked like this person was doing donuts in their fucking front yard. It was fucking wild. It literally sounded like this person, like, flipped their vehicle, and then you hear, like, I'm gonna hit this again because it's, oh no! If I drop it, then I lose. The bowl is almost gone, so let's finish this and then close it up. Because when you sew, you gotta use the needle. What sort of pun was that? If you didn't keep up with it, I'm sorry. I didn't even keep up with it. Because it's sew, S-O, sew, S-E-W, because sewing needle. And when I usually talk about a story, I usually will say sew. I do gotta say it was a good trip. I have a few more stories from this camping trip, but those are for future videos because this is getting way too long. I'm sorry, guys. I was having a laugh had my partner been like standing at the window just watching me, like you're a fucking goof. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say because it's got all the stories out, got a little bit of unpacking to do. School starts this like coming up in this Monday, last semester. Bye.